or welcome back to the 8th concession. My name is Natalie. Well, it's early June, and even though I've been so late getting the vegetable garden in, I do have most of it planted. It still needs a bit of work down there. But in the meantime, the flowers and the gardens have been growing and blooming, and they're so lovely. And I know when I was cleaning up this front garden bed, I mentioned all the different kinds of hostas, and I promised to show you what they looked like and what was there. So I thought I'd do that today. It's a beautiful day. It's fairly cool, about 10 degrees Celsius. And that's great because the mosquitoes have been ferocious this year. And this morning, they're there. You'll see me swatting a bit, but they're not as bad as they have been. So this is the perfect chance to take a walk around so I can show you what's happening. And I can also have a good look myself because I've had to avoid certain parts of the property because the mosquitoes they'd come up in a cloud. So let's have a look at how beautiful everything is right now. Here is the front flower bed that I cleaned up a while ago on my decluttering video. I wish you could smell the peonies. This is a variety of peony that my mother had, and she gave me part of it, and it's just about, all those blooms are about to open, but this one down here is open. Just look at that. It's so gorgeous, and the smell is just amazing. I love it so much. So here is one of, I'm just going to move this here, one of the first types of hostas. Oh, mosquito. This is a little variegated curly hosta, white on the inside, green on the outside, stays nice and small and compact. It's one of my favorites. I don't know the name of these hostas. They were here when we bought the property. But I love them. Oh, and under there are some hens and chicks. I still haven't found out the name of this ground cover. The flowers are actually a blue purple. I think on the camera here it looks very purple, but they're actually a blue purple. I really would love it if someone could let me know what the name of this ground cover is. So here's the next hosta. This, oops, I can see my shadow there. This is like a blue-gray hosta. It's really nice, and there are several of these around. I have to swing over and show you this one. Look at the size of this hosta. It is amazing, and what I like the best about it is it hides a multitude of problems with our front step, which we hope to be addressing with our renovations, but you know, you have to be patient. We're not going to get to the front step for a while. So I'm always so happy when this one grows and hides everything. There are several of the same variety around, and this is one of them. This one over here on the corner is just a nice green hosta. It has fairly large leaves, but it's a really nice deep color. Oh, there's my lavender getting ready to bloom. Now this hosta is the opposite of the little one I showed you. This one is green on the inside with yellow on the edges. And it's a bit smaller than the plain green one. So this is the fourth variety here. My daffodils. So this is once again the same as the first one I showed you. This miniature curly variegated hosta. Another big blue-gray. And then over here behind the rock, we have the opposite of the little one. This is green with white on the edges, not yellow like the fourth one I showed you. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different hostas in here. And you can see there are some more, but they're the same as other ones in the garden. The dragon's blood sedum is looking great, even though I pulled it back quite viciously when I was cleaning it up, but it's all looking great. And that peony here in the middle, that is actually supposed to be a pink peony. Here is the phlox. It was starting to come over the edge, but someone put a bag of chicken feed there. Kind of knocked it back. You can see it kind of, you know, things happen. And the dianthus, the pinks are opening here. I really like them. And look at the snow in summer. It is just like, it's like a glacier coming down and cascading over the edge of the wall. I love it. However, if you remember, I have a geum in here, and I tried to pull it back to give the, I can't even find it, to give the geum a chance to grow, but it's gone. It has died, and the snow and summer wind, so I have to be very careful to pull it back sometimes. I have some Canterbury bells right there, so I'll have to make sure they're not the next victim of the snow and summer. I'll have to pull it back quite severely. This is also sort of a blue-gray, but it is much smaller than the other ones, so I think it might be a different variety. I'm not positive, but it is a lot smaller. And this is my other phlox. It's getting ready to cascade over the wall, so I'm excited about that. And then the tree, I've mentioned before, I don't know what kind it is. It was here when we got here. It's been pruned quite severely, but it has very distinctive leaves. I'm sure somebody knows what kind of tree this is. Let's have a walk across the front of the house and look at the gardens there. So next to my massive hosta is the last of the different varieties I have, and it's this one here. It's like green with lime green edges and quite small. I really like this one. This one is really cute and such a nice color. And next to a nice lavender, that is another blue-green hosta. And the little curly variegated one. The property also came with ostrich ferns, which I really like, but they are really invasive. I have to dig up the little babies it sends out every year to keep it from taking over this garden. When I took over the house, they really were all across here in everything. So to keep them contained is a bit of work, but I do love them. And these pinks, I don't think they're supposed to be perennials, but in my garden, I think because they're protected here at the front of the house by an overhang, they survive the winter. I don't have to replant them. They're doing so amazingly well. So I have perennial pinks and a nest spruce to keep nice and low under the window there so it doesn't block the view. The blue-gray. These are some more of the same hostas. This is a Rose of Sharon, and it is purple with, I think, white centers. It's really, really pretty, and it's doing really well here. And then the same pattern repeated with the nest spruce and the pinks and the ostrich fern. Now this is the Japanese maple that my kids bought for me for Mother's Day last year, and you can see it's doing really well here and it seems quite happy, and I just love the look of it. So it doesn't have a really clear shape yet, and I don't want to prune it yet, but I'm just happy to see it growing, coming back in the second year after the winter. So, and over here on the south side of the house we have a purple salvia, which the butterflies love, and beside it, this is an orange butterfly bush. Those florets there will open to a bright orange, and again, the butterflies, monarchs in particular, really like that. By then, these irises, which have already bloomed and died back, they were gorgeous purple. They'll be dying back, so. This is an allium, hairy allium it's called. It has a funny curly ball. Another, the small hosta again, so it doesn't get in the way. And this is a pink peony that has finished blooming, and the rain has pretty much beat down because we did have about 3 days of rain, some of it pretty hard. So I'll come and clean this up a bit. This one, I think, there it is. Very heavy with rain. There is a support under there, but once those blooms open and are so full and heavy, and then the rain on it, they just fell over. The orchard was beautiful this year. There were blooms on several of the trees, and it just looked so pretty. And now wait till I show you. So the orchard this is its 3rd year. Let me show you what's been happening. The peach tree, which is Reliance, that's the variety. It's supposed to be fairly hardy because we are in Zone 5B, Southern Ontario. But it was covered in pretty pink blooms. And now, look what I see. We have peaches! In fact, there are peaches everywhere on this tree. It's covered in them. I think they're all going to grow. Definitely we're going to get some. And I'm very excited to have our first homegrown peaches. Here's hoping the weather doesn't come along and do something crazy and ruin them. Next to the peach is our sweet cherry. And it had a few blooms too. It wasn't covered in blooms, but it had a few. And let's see if I can find it. They were pollinated because we have a couple. Oh, that one doesn't look like it's going to make it up there. But I might get my first taste of sweet cherries here. I think there's about 3 or 4 cherries. This is our Gallerina apple, which is a Gala cross. It didn't have any blooms this year. So while it looks healthy enough, it has had a bit of caterpillar damage already. I have to watch it carefully. It's not going to produce anything. But over here, if you remember, my Macintosh apple cross died, so I bought a straight Macintosh. Now the top needs to be trimmed, but it had blooms, and I'm hoping I might get an apple or 2. It's also got some bug damage. I've picked off a few caterpillars, and I have to keep a close eye on it because you can see from the holes in the leaves that something has been munching. So I have to come out daily and just check and make sure that's old damage and that there isn't something still chomping away at it. The apple tree that was here, that was so covered in blooms this year, is also producing. We should have some nice apples for cider and eating. Now here is the sour cherry. It had a few blooms. It wasn't covered in them, but we also have a few sour cherries coming. See if I can find them, if the birds have already eaten them. There's one little one there. There are little ones here and there. Again, so just enough for a taste if I can beat the birds to them once they start to ripen. The pear is a year younger than the other trees. You can see there's a bit of caterpillar damage here as well. I've already picked off a tent caterpillar. So I have to keep my eye out for any more damage. Uh-oh. See what I see right there? That is caterpillar poop. And that's fairly large. Oh, there's some on that leaf as well. All right. There's one here somewhere. and I need to find it. Oh my goodness, I have found it. I wouldn't even have recognized it as a caterpillar, except the branch was thicker. I thought, why does that look so funny? I don't see any others. I got rid of that one, but I'll have to keep checking. That is why they say the best thing for a garden is the gardener, because if you don't check all the time, you'll miss that. And that caterpillar was already quite large. I hope there isn't another one, but I now will know to keep checking. I'm over here by the pond now, because this is where I am starting a line of roses. Now this one, this is a weed. The problem with this area, oh, and here they go, are the mosquitoes. But this is a purple shrub rose called Foxy Pavement. Now it's got weeds is what it's got. It's got some blooms right here. So I'll show you when they open. Oh, there's some more there. Excellent. Oh, it's got lots of blooms. It's a beautiful purple color. I just have to make sure the weeds don't take it over. Here's the pond. This one is called At Last, and it has beautiful orange coral colored roses, and you can see, oh, let me see the mosquitoes. It's going to be out in bloom soon, but this is my newest one, and it is blooming. This happens to be my husband's favorite. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I've still got the tag here. It is Charisma, a Floribunda type. It's not quite a shrub rose, but it has the same growing habit. But I just love the color of those. They look like they're on fire. We're over by the slug hut now, and this is exciting. I planted this bush last year. This is only its first full year. It is an elderberry, and look what I see. Elderberry blossoms anytime now. That's very exciting. This is another peony, the same one from my mother as in the front garden. Some more of the hostas. And then this. Isn't that gorgeous? This was a present from my son and daughter-in-law. It is an orange colored iris. Look at the frills on that. They are stunning. And they look particularly good with the purple of the peony when I'm sitting back on my deck or a patio and looking over at the orange and the purple together. Just look at this. It is very happy here in the sunshine, and I just can't get enough of the color. That's right next to our raspberry bushes, which have an abundance of berries about to come all over. This is going to be covered with raspberries soon. Very exciting. They're looking very healthy. A few Jerusalem artichokes are trying to stay alive here. This whole bed was covered with Jerusalem artichokes when we first got here. And I do like them. They're actually very pretty, just not here in my raspberry bed. So, but yes, tons and tons of raspberries. Some daisies have seeded themselves here. I didn't plant them, but they are very pretty. They remind me of my childhood. We used to always pick them and pick the petals off. Now, along with some grass weeds, here is my perennial sweet pea. You can see how healthy it is. You can't even see the trellis underneath anymore. There is a black structure underneath, but it has already overtaken it. And when this blooms, it has almost orchid-looking sweet pea flowers. And then look at this. Look at the blooms on the blackberries. We are going to have a feast of blackberries this year. I can't believe how well this patch is doing. There were 3 spindly blackberry plants that were completely covered by weeds when we first bought this property. We actually didn't even know there were blackberries here. And when I was weeding it, I thought, what are these? And we decided to keep them. They must have been planted by the previous owners. They are thornless, so I don't think it's an accident. They're not wild. But they are coming along so amazingly well. My goodness, who's going to eat all the blackberries? It is covered with blooms. I might have to open up a blackberry stand. Some weeding I need to do over here. This was also the same purple iris we have on the south side of the house, but these are spectacular. These are pencil iris. They're tall and narrow and a lovely shade of deep purple. There's that lime colored hosta again. Oh, this poor bed over here needs some serious weeding, but it is so buggy, it's very hard. This is going to be my lily. It is a gorgeous lily, and the plant is doing so well. Oops. Oh no. That got knocked off. Might have been by the rain. But there's 3 big blooms still coming. Oh, that's too bad. Down in the weeds, my lavender. And this poor thing also being enveloped by weeds. I have to clear this out. This is a chiffon pink rose of Sharon. And it is so pretty. It has double blooms. It bloomed all over the place last year, so I need to make sure this is a chore I'm going to do very shortly, is clear up this bed to make sure this pink rose of Sharon has room. Oh, you can hear the turkeys in the background. They're right behind me. And this is a black currant bush that a friend gave me. Also needs some rescuing from the weeds. It had berries on it. I think the birds have already gotten to it because there's nothing left on it. Well, I did get bit on my fingers from the mosquitoes holding the camera. But they weren't too bad. I was happy that I had the opportunity to show you just how beautifully all the flowers are coming and the orchard. I'm so excited to try some of the first fruit from our own orchard this year. I hope they continue to grow and, you know, more caterpillars don't get them. But I hope you've enjoyed this little tour and got to see what I was cleaning up and what I was preparing in the spring. And it's just such a joy to walk around and see the beautiful flowers and just see the colors. It helps offset the mosquitoes in terms of enjoying my garden. It is beautiful to look at. I hope your gardens are bursting into bloom now too, and that you're also not too bothered by the mosquitoes this year. Bye for now.